welcome back to the Young Entrepreneurs Podcast, where we interview some of the young entrepreneurs that have been making waves in 2020. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Carol.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here.
She is the developer of The Meeting Place. The Meeting Place is a community creative space where students and other business professionals can meet up and express their creative ideas, having close interaction, but still staying within COVID restrictions. And yeah, we're going to hear a little bit today about her journey and how she came to develop this communal creative space.
It's basically a public space, for example, a park, and we have built these little pods, as we call them, to allow people to have social interaction and close contact with other people that might not be in their social bubble without breaking COVID restrictions. And the way we've done that, I've actually brought one of the very first models that we made in our team meeting. So this is an example of what a pod looks like. There's a kind of plexiglass, frosted glass around the entire small building, and each building has a little glass enclosure, and so basically it's like 6 little buildings put into one, and so everyone has their own room, but they're all interconnected, and so you're still able to talk to other people, but you're remaining within your own restrictions as well.
I was just wondering if you could give us a little bit of insight into some of the technology that you've created.
So the way it works is that each room has a microphone built into it, and so everyone is able to hear each other. It actually is a self-sanitizing unit using UV ray lights and also a self-sanitizing spray, and it takes about 5 minutes for a room to be sanitized. So once one party leaves, it takes about 5 minutes, and then it's ready for the next use.
We actually have a clip from one of the very first team meetings where this idea started, so we'll play that right now.
Hi everyone, welcome to our first official team meeting. My name is Blue Hat. I will be conducting our meeting today. So we are here to solve the problem of students not having a place to meet. As you know, because universities are closed and all we have right now are either meeting up distance or Zoom meetings or Google Hangouts, there's not really a lot of options for students to meet up and talk and discuss their projects, and a lot of students have felt a lot of pressure from this because we still need to do our projects, but at the same time there's not a lot of options for meeting up. And as we all can relate, no one likes Zoom calls. So I'm just going to open up the floor to all of us. We can all share our ideas. Green Hat, why don't we start with you?
You know, before you talk, first off, I just want to say I think it's so great that we're all working together, and I think that if each of us put on our own special hats, we can tackle this problem.
But I love your energy and enthusiasm. Thank you for sharing. Yes, all right, we can solve this problem.
What if we find a way to teleport students from one person's front yard to another person's front yard so they can have social distancing?
Okay, that idea has some potential. Let's just keep the ball rolling here. Anyone else?
No, you know, Green Hat, that's great. You are so good at being creative and just being able to think outside the box. What if we created an Uber service, but for students or business people trying to do meetings? And then that way they can sign up for the service. It'll be a lower fee, maybe even government funded.
I don't think this idea has a lot of potential.
No! I love it. Yes, keep it going.
Okay, Red Hat, would you like to contribute?
I don't know, I feel like because of COVID and people not being able to meet up, you know, it's really just so sad. not being able to have face-to-face contact with people, and especially students, like, you're already under so much stress, and when you're doing a project, it just really, yeah, it's really sad. Guys, I got it. What if we develop some kind of communal space where people can come and have meetings? It'll be in like a public space, but it'll be in some kind of special building or something, or some kind of special little house where you can rent out the house, and it'll be almost like a kind of coffee shop, except smaller, and almost like your own little private library space. No, that actually is a good idea. All right. You know, the health and safety department, they're really gonna have a heyday with this one. How are you going to get ventilation inside the boxes? If someone farts, do we all just sit inside of that for whoever knows how long? By the time we even get all this approved, you know, school's probably going to be over. COVID will probably be over. What are we going to build these huts out of? Are we going to use brick? Wood? I mean, it's really just not a very appealing concept, to be honest. Okay, Black Hat, that's enough. Guys, I got it. You know how in Japan, right, they have these weird public washrooms where they're clear, so it looks like you can just see inside the washroom, but as soon as you step inside, there's some kind of sensor that goes on, and it basically transforms it into some kind of like frosted glass. So it's clear once a person leaves, so you know that it's vacant, but once a person goes inside, the glass like fogs up, so you can't see what's inside, and we can have something like that. Well, actually, I just ran a cost analysis on all of the different materials. But if we wanted to do the frosted glass idea, it would be a little more expensive. We would have to ask the government for extra money. But I do see how it is, you know, in theory, it would make people feel more comfortable. I've taken it upon myself, and I just built this little model. I love it. Alright guys, no, I think this is gonna work. So, each room will have a little whiteboard on it, and a little chair and a little desk, so that everyone can write their ideas and show each other. And because the walls are clear plexiglass, they'll have ventilation units at the top that are able to ventilize, and each one will be complete with the UV rays and self-sanitizing technology. As soon as you open the door and you go inside and close it, there will be a mechanism that can detect that it's no longer vacant, so the glass will become frosted. Each little unit will have mics installed inside of them so that people are able to hear each other when they talk, and every person can see all the other ones in the unit. I do think it's a good, I feel confident. Okay, Black Hat, do you really think the government is going to pay for all of this after all the expenses that they've had to pay with COVID? So if the government isn't going to fund it, then maybe we can have the government build it. But to keep it running, it can just be like a communal space that runs through donations. Yeah, it could be something we look into. I can just send a quick email. Parks! We can set them up in parks. That way, if it's outdoors, there will be a lot more room. People need more green space right now. People are having problems because people are having parties and loitering in parks, so this will get rid of a lot of that space if we make it still a public space, but now a more regulated public space. I feel confident in this idea. Alright guys, that was a great brainstorming session. So let's all think through these ideas. We'll provide some criticism, some pros and cons, and then we can all get back together and discuss all of these things at a further date, okay?
Alright, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. It's really been great.
If you do want to hear more about the project, you can go to themeetingplace.com, or we'll leave a link to the Meeting Place's Instagram and Twitter in our podcast description. Thank you so much, Carol.